Yeah, welcome back. Dubai has emerged as a key export gateway for stationery goods, which are in spiraling demand throughout Africa. A new report by Market Information Advisory, GW Research, forecasts the continent's stationery consumption will reach a value of $5.04 billion by 2027, growing at a compound average growth rate of 2.4% annually from its current $4.39 billion valuation. Education, though, represents 60% of overall sector demand in Africa. And though the COVID-19 pandemic has slowed demand with schools being forced to close, the report believes the sector will rebound by the end of this year. Well, we have proponents of the report represented by Mr. Ali Akbar, who is the show director of Paper World Middle East exhibition, to tell us how they got to these figures and why they have interest in this. Good to speak to you, Mr. Akbar. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Paper World Middle East is actually one of the largest exhibitions, which holds almost 300 companies from 40 plus countries in the Middle East. The exhibition takes place in Dubai and this year it will take place from 14th to the 16th of December.
Okay, so Mr. Akbar, we're just curious to know why your interest in African stationery market, because it doesn't seem like a very popular market, and yet you took interest and then you did a report on it. What drew your attention to that?
Yeah, Dubai is being actually the major re-export hub, and we've seen all over the years that a lot of African buyers are coming and sourcing variety of stationery products from Dubai. Now, there are multiple reasons behind it. One of them would be that Dubai is accessible, easily for all. Then the variety of products that you get with very, less number of minimum order quantity. Apart from that, you'll get access to major brands. Obviously, it could be from Asia, from Europe and stuff. And then on the top of that, easy logistics and shipping lines that basically, contributes to the overall shipments being delivered easily to African countries. Having said that, obviously, these factors contributes to high demand for distributors and retailers of African market. And that's the reason the market is very lucrative for them. And over the years in our exhibition, we have seen that the African buyers, the presence of African buyers are tremendously increasing, year by year. But so since it's a long absence.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which countries are most active from your report? Which countries are most active in these transactions you're talking about?
We've seen traction from, obviously, from Ethiopia, from Nigeria, Egypt, as a matter of fact. South Africa is showing a promising kind of growth in terms of both exhibitors and visitors coming here to source as well as showcase their products. I think these are the dominant region. Apart from that, some emerging markets like Democratic Republic of Congo, Sierra Leone, and I would say that some more West African countries, Morocco. Yep, that's what it is.
Okay, so how can countries on the continent, at this time, nations are looking for how to maximize whatever platform they can get. How can countries on this continent maximize these trade relations in spite of the restrictions? For instance, there's a restriction between the travel between Nigeria and Dubai, So how can, in spite of all of this, countries maximize this platform, an opportunity that the stationery market presents?
Absolutely. So, in our exhibition, we are going hybrid this year. So if due to travel uncertainties, a potential buyer wouldn't be able to travel to the show, then they could log into our online platforms and they will get access to all the exhibitors showcasing their products. They can obviously connect, network, communicate with them through our virtual tools. Apart from that, I think there's a reasonable kind of, sense that the travel would resume in next couple of months. The show is lined up in December from 14th to the 16th, as I said. So we are hopeful that it will, the buyers from Nigeria will have access to the Dubai market by then.
Okay, we hope so too. Thank you so much, Mr. Ali Akbar, show director of Paper World Middle East exhibition, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Pleasure.
Moving on now, Ivory Coast Parliament has approved a new law that all rubber produced in the country will have to be processed before being exported. Members of the Parliament have stressed the need to go for added value, which will help build a strong, prosperous country where all will benefit from economic growth and fallout. Prior to this law, only 50% of the country's rubber was being processed before shipment into the world market. Ivory Coast is Africa's biggest rubber producer and ranks as the world's fourth biggest grower of the crop. Kenya is establishing a fill and finish facility for COVID-19 vaccines ahead of setting up a full-scale manufacturing plant to guarantee supply. According to the country's national COVID-19 vaccine deployment plan, the aim is to start local production during the first quarter of 2022 and have a fully fledged human vaccine manufacturing capability by 2024. And Dubai Gold and Commodities Exchange and Zambia's copper production dropped 4% in the first 6 months of the year, as some miners in Africa's second largest producer of the industrial metal struggled with operational disruptions. January to June production fell 393,114 metric tons from 407,807 tons produced in the same period last year. The production drop dampens Zambia's prospect of raising copper output above 900,000 tons this year. Global copper prices hit multi-year highs in May as the global economy began to recover from the pandemic hit, but have since been retreating. Zambia, which became Africa's first pandemic-era sovereign defaulter last year, tripled its trade balance to $1.9 billion from January to May, boosted by higher copper prices. Somalia's economy is rebounding from the triple shock that ravaged the country in 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic, extreme flooding, and locust infestation. Those were the three triple shocks that the country faced last year. Real GDP growth is projected at 2.4% in 2021. This growth momentum is expected to continue in the medium term and reach pre-COVID-19 levels of 3.2% in 2023. The latest World Bank Somalia Economic Update reports that economy contracted by 0.4% in 2020, less severe than the 1.5% contraction projected at the onset of the global pandemic. Higher than anticipated aid flows, fiscal policy measures put in place by the federal government of Somalia to aid businesses, social protection measures to cushion vulnerable households, and higher than expected remittance inflows mitigated the adverse effect of the triple shock. Well, that's it on the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ini John Mekwa.